Today we're going to be going over one of the best ways to farm obols, make money, and farm legendary aspects to upgrade all of your gear and make your character incredibly powerful in Diablo 4. You'll be able to make millions of gold, max out all of your obols, and we're going to be going over exactly how to gamble for legendary aspects to get the ones that you want to be able to upgrade your character. Now the process for this is actually incredibly simple, and once you understand the mechanic, you can use it to upgrade your character very easily. We're going to be farming up these events that spawn around the world, and I'm going to be farming up one in particular for this video, but you can use this anywhere. The one I'm farming is just outside of Koivashad. It spawns right down here, and there's another one that spawns up here, but this one tends to have events that are a little bit more of a pain. But one thing that's interesting about all of these events is they do seem to cycle to where each day or maybe every couple of hours they cycle to a different one that spawns all the time. And this one in particular with these ancient siphons are the easiest to be able to clear extremely quickly, and I highly recommend finding ones that are like this, because once we show how exactly this mechanic works, you can use this anywhere. You don't have to do it just outside of Koivashad. You can really do it anywhere in the game, and I really like this one right now because it's so unbelievably quick to be able to complete. All you gotta do is just kill things within these circles to get these little things to explode. Then the boss is going to spawn and you have to kill the boss. So if you ever see these, I definitely recommend farming up this particular event as much as you can, just because of how quick it is. But essentially what we need to do is just kill this bad boy right here, and once you complete it, you're going to get XP, and you get a great radiant chest, which is going to have these murmuring obols and a bunch of equipment in here. You can get legendaries, and depending on what worlds you're on, you can get. Now once you finish the event, move up a little bit from it, and if you're playing solo, just open up your menu, go to game, and then you're going to leave the game. Once you leave the game, just go ahead and enter back in. This is the only part that could be slow depending on your computer. If you're playing on the PlayStation 5 or Xbox, it should load really quickly, but if you're playing on a PC with a slow like SSD or something like that, it might take a little bit longer for you to be able to load into the game. But once you load back in, you should be able to have this event back up, and you can continuously farm this for all of your obols and legendary armor. You should be able to make hundreds of thousands of gold really quickly, as well as getting all of your obols, which you're going to be using to be able to farm up your legendary aspects and potentially even armor upgrades and weapon upgrades. We're going to be going over exactly how to do that in just a second, because you can actually gamble specifically for the types of legendary aspects that you want. Now, if you're playing with a friend, what you can do is instead of leaving the game, you can just leave the party and then re-invite your friend to the party, and it should actually respawn this event as well. So it's a little bit faster if you have a friend, but you can still do it solo as well, which is really nice. Right now, this entire process takes me about 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's to kill the event, exit the game, and load back into the game. Let's just round that up to an even 2 minutes, which means in an hour we can do 30 events. If we average our obol return at 55, which is on the low end, we can get 1,650 obols in an hour. And if we average only 2 to 3 rare drops per run, which you're gonna get more, is about 1.9 million gold per hour. I would estimate it to be closer to 2.5 to 3 million, depending on how lucky you get with drops. This also isn't counting the items that you're going to be selling from your obol gambling. I'm also currently on World Tier 3. If you're on a lower tier, you're going to get slightly less. If you're on a higher tier, you're going to get significantly more. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what about the Tree of Whispers? Well, I've been doing a lot of testing, and it doesn't really seem to be worth it. It's a nice bonus if you're already doing things in that area, but to specifically run around and grind up all of these for the Grim Favors and then turning them into the tree, I've never gotten anything good from that tree, ever. I don't really like the mechanic. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Now let's get into aspect gambling, because this is going to be the best way to increase the power of your character, and farming up specific ones is going to be incredibly important, and you don't want to be wasting your time. Now if you go into your collections and your codex of power, you can see all the aspects that you can get in the open world. These aren't all the aspects in the game, so you can go to your dungeons and unlock these. You can put them on your armor, but they're going to be the lowest tier available for that particular aspect. But also there's a ton of really good ones that you have to get from armor, and the only way you can do this is by getting the legendary armor and then removing the aspect from that armor. And one of the easiest ways to farm this up is by actually trading in these obols for the right item. I'm sure as you get to higher world tiers, there's going to be an increased legendary drop rate, but for now this is incredibly effective. Now in your codex of power, you'll notice we have 5 different types of aspects. We have defensive, offensive, resource, utility, and mobility. Now that we know what types of aspects there are, we can use our obols to gamble for the ones that we want. If you spend obols on a cap, you're going to have a high chance of getting a resource aspect. Gloves are going to be used to get offense and utility. Boots are going to be for mobility and utility. And pants are going to be used for defense. Now, there are some aspects that can only be equipped on a ring, and to get these, you're going to have to spend the extra obols on rings. For instance, if you're a barbarian, whenever you cast a shout skill, its cooldown is reduced by 1.7 seconds per nearby enemy. This one can only be gotten on rings. Now, I'm currently hunting for an offensive aspect, so I'm going to buy a bunch of these gloves, and hopefully I will get some legendaries along the way. So we got a bunch of legendaries already. Out of the 500 obols that I had, I only got 3 legendaries. Sometimes you'll get more, sometimes you'll get less. It depends on how lucky you are and how RNGesus feels like treating you. And out of these 3 gloves, I got 2 offensive and 1 utility. Now at this point, if the item was an upgrade, you can equip it, or you can just extract that aspect out of that particular legendary piece and then save it for later. This is going to be one of the best ways to be able to save really powerful aspects for when you get really nice upgrades. Once you have a nice upgrade, you can put it into the slot and you can overwrite previous imprints on there if you want as well. So right now we're going to imprint this deal 24% increased damage while you have a barrier active onto our one-handed weapon. Another thing to keep in mind when you're farming up all of these obols and your rare or legendary items is the materials that you can get from breaking them down. Yes, you can make a lot of money by selling them to upgrade, enchant, or imprint your weapons. So definitely make sure to not only sell these items, but also save some for breaking down, or just do like one run where you're selling them or another run where you're breaking them down. This will allow you to always have as much money as you need and as many materials as you need to be able to upgrade your equipment as you play through the game.